Eyewitness News begins with breaking news.
Good afternoon and thank you for joining us. I'm Erica Ferrando. We're following a lot of developing stories at this hour. We start in St. Roch, where police say two boys were trying to break into cars last night when someone shot them both. One of the boys, a 15-year-old, died at the scene. The other, a 14-year-old, was taken to the hospital. This all happened a little after midnight. We went back to the scene this morning and talked to neighbors who say this kind of thing is all too common.
It just make you feel bad because the kids ain't getting a chance to, be who they are or whatever. I don't really know how to put it into words, but they didn't get a feature or whatever you want to call it because they're so corrupted or blinded by silly stuff.
The NOPD believes the shooters were two males, ages unknown, who got away. It's still not clear why exactly the shooters fired and if it was in response to the teens breaking into cars. In Central City, police are looking for a woman they say came into the McDonald's on Claiborne with a handgun last night. She allegedly forced 4 employees to get into the freezer, then made the manager on duty open the safe. She took an unknown amount of money and ran away. One of the employees forced into the freezer is 16, another is 17. So far, police don't know who the woman is. And in Jefferson Parish, we've learned 10 young inmates were transferred this morning from the Bridge City Center for Youth. They're now at a temporary juvenile facility on the grounds of Angola Prison. The goal is to transfer is to help relieve pressure on the understaffed center, which has seen multiple escapes and a riot this year. About an hour ago, we talked to State Senator Pat Connick, who represents Bridge City. He believes this is a positive development.
It's come to this where the Bridge City facility has to shut down, get these juveniles moved out into a facility where they can hopefully be rehabilitated. The whole goal of juvenile justice is not to punish, but to rehabilitate. Taking this step of moving those who have caused trouble into the system out of the system and into Angola where they have better control is going to help everybody. It's going to help Bridge City, it's going to help the West Bank, the East Bank, and the whole entire area around here. So it's a long time coming, and I welcome the move.
The state renovated the part of Angola the teens were taken to. Yesterday, we got our first look at the facility. Activists and families of the teens have sued the state. They say being housed at one of the country's most notorious prisons will traumatize the teens. More will be moved soon. Governor John Bel Edwards previously said about 24 Bridge City inmates would be transferred to Angola, total about half of the population at Bridge City. And of course, today we have to talk about the weather. It was chilly this morning, and tonight some areas could even freeze. Your local weather expert, Peyton Malone, is here. And Peyton, it is only October, but I think we're welcoming this cold weather.
I'm excited about it. Yeah, it's been kind of welcome after what has been a hot, long summer, as we usually see. Now, today is well below normal. These are usually temperatures we see in like late December and early January. So certainly a strong cold front here. Current temperatures are still ranging from the upper 50s to right at 60. I think we'll increase a couple more degrees, but that's it. It's also really windy out there, and the winds are going to play a role in how cool or cold we can get later tonight. The lighter the winds, the colder you can get. If you still have a wind out there, well, temperatures can sometimes struggle to drop off. So that will determine who sees a freeze and who stays just above. Now, I think it's more likely most people stay kind of 35, somewhere in there, but a few areas, if the winds drop off enough on the North Shore, might drop down to 33 or 32. So we do have a freeze warning. It includes all of South Mississippi. It includes the Florida parishes for the North Shore all the way over to Baton Rouge and up towards Macomb. So these are the areas that do have that potential to see that light freeze. Now, this is not a hard freeze situation. You don't need to worry about pipes on either side of the lake, but on both sides of the lake, check in on people who need something warm. Also, don't forget about your pets. They're not used to the cold weather either. And North Shore and west of the lake, that's where I would go ahead and protect my plants before I go to bed. Remember, you don't want to keep your plants covered very long. This is not a long extended freeze. Sometimes it can do more harm if you keep your plants covered for too long. So before you go to bed, cover them. When you wake up tomorrow morning and the sun starts to come up and heat things up just a little bit, well, then you can uncover them. But you can see there, mid to low 30s are possible, especially in that Pearl River Basin. The Pearl River Basin is always a little bit colder. So Bogalusa, Picayune, down towards Slidell, I think those will be our coldest locations tomorrow morning, whereas notice in the city will be in the mid-40s. So no frost down here, but it will certainly be on the chilly side and maybe even 10 to 15 degrees colder than we were this morning. Erica.
The midterm elections are 3 weeks away and early voting starts in a week. Keep in mind today is the last day to register online to vote. We have a link on our website, wwltv.com. The deadline to register in person has already passed. 5 of Louisiana's 6 House seats are up for grabs. The only one that isn't is for northwestern Louisiana, where Congressman Mike Johnson is running unopposed. You'll see some proposed amendments to the state constitution on your ballot too, as well as parish-wide and local elections and propositions. Plus, everyone in Louisiana will vote for a senator. 12 candidates are trying to unseat Senator John Kennedy. We invited him and his challengers based on campaign funding to join us on our morning show this week. The senator's team told us his schedule is completely full. This morning we talked to Gary Chambers Jr. He went viral around the country early in his campaign for this ad where he talks about disproportionate enforcement of marijuana laws. Chambers told us about the strategy behind the message.
What we've done with our ads is try to get beyond what's the normal politics to activate non-chronic voters, people who are disengaged, disillusioned with the process, to talk about the things that are important to them in a meaningful way. That's been proven by the effectiveness of our ads. That first ad was seen over 30 million times around America, helped us raise hundreds of thousands of dollars, but also built a national platform so that when we get into a runoff with John Kennedy, we can have the resources and the connectivity around the country to send him home.
And we'll hear from Luke Mixon tomorrow morning and Sarita Stibe later this week. Tonight, Jefferson Parish leaders will hold another public meeting to talk about proposed changes to several playgrounds in the parish. The plan first called to end seasonal sports leagues at 6 playgrounds and turn them into academies where kids would receive year-round instructions for one specific sport. Parish President Cynthia Lee Shang says the reimagined plans are not set in stone and there could be changes. Officials are meeting with residents at all of the parks involved to hear their concerns. Tonight's meeting is at the Rosethorn Playground in Lafitte. It begins at 6 o'clock. After months of waiting, you can now apply for forgiveness for federal student loans. What you should know before you click submit.